Hello, my loves. I am fresh out of an anxiety attack and I want to talk you through how I got myself out of it. Before we get into it, I am not a professional. Do not be trying to replace your therapy session with this video just because it's free, okay? I am just somebody who lives with anxiety who has learned how to make it her not all the time, but most of the time. And I want to talk you through some of the tools and tricks that I've used and that I literally just used like an hour ago to help me come out of this little dark cloud of anxiety like a bright ray of sunshine. So you might pick one that really resonates with you, leave one behind that doesn't. And even with that, some of these tools work for some anxiety situations and not others. And I'll get into some examples. Like there's nothing that will make me not be anxious at this point on an airplane. But in other areas of life, I'm pretty much able to pull myself out of it. So let's have fun, shall we? When I start to feel anxious, I freeze. I know everyone wants to talk about like the fight or flight responses. I am a classic freeze response person. I will literally not be able to do anything. Or at least my anxiety will convince me that I shouldn't do anything. When I'm on the airplane, because again, that's the most extreme manifestation of my anxiety, I will have to stop watching the TV thing, take my headphones off. I can't listen. I feel like I can't listen to music. I feel like I can't eat. I feel like I can't drink water because subconsciously, somewhere deep in my brain, I think that if I just control my body, then I will control the airplane. I know that that sounds ridiculous and it's because it is, but if you know anything about anxiety, you know that it never makes sense. It's all just thoughts. I want you to ask yourself this question. Is there a problem like right now? I learned this from the book, The Power of Now, actually, where Eckhart Tolle basically talked about how there's no past and there's no future. There's literally just this moment right here. And in the effort of not sounding cliche, like let's just think about that. When you are having anxious thoughts, it's because you're thinking about the future. You're trying to control the future. You're trying to prevent something from happening. That is what your anxiety is doing. It is trying to bring the future into this moment and pretend that the problem that you're anticipating exists right here. But when you pull yourself back, you realize, oh yeah, no, like the plane didn't crash. Because guess what? If the plane was crashing, baby, you would not have time to be anxious, okay? Your survival instincts would kick in. And yes, would you be afraid? Maybe. But even then, your body wouldn't even have time to feel the depths of those feelings because you would be trying to survive. If your boss was on the phone with you firing you, you would not be focused on the anxious feelings. You would be focused on how to respond or talk them out of it or what your next steps would be. You would kick into a different gear. However, the anxiety is convincing you that this thought that you're going to get fired exists in this moment and that there is something you can do about that when in reality, in this moment, 10 times out of 10, you don't have a problem. So that's just one little reality check, which I know does not always help because trust me, I tried to think about that on the plane and it doesn't make me feel better. So I get if that alone is not the best thing, but I just want to recommend that you try it. Just have fun with it and just let me know how that one goes when you try it. Another one that I've employed and that I employed today to pull me right out of that bout of anxiety is to ask myself, if I were a magnet, what would I be attracting with this energy? Anytime I think about that, I'm like, oh, anxious energy attracts more reasons to be anxious. Like I've been through that way too many times. Whatever you are being is what you are attracting into your life. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a rush and feeling anxious and feeling stressed, you drop your coffee, you get your makeup all over your clothes, you and your husband get into a fight. It just creates all these little snowball moments of more reasons to be anxious. Calm energy produces more experiences that make you feel calm. So I'm like, okay, knowing that I don't actually have a problem in this moment, that I am just anticipating a problem coming, I am going to control my energy and bring it back to a neutral place. I'm not telling you to go from being highly stressed to like the happiest person on the planet. I don't think that that's realistic. I think that there's so much to be said though about being able to calm your nervous system, calm yourself down, and do the things that help you do that. So what did I do? I know it's hard to calm yourself down when you're in that cloud. However, I know if you're watching this, you know of at least one thing that you have access to that can help to facilitate more calmness. For me, there are a plethora of things that make me feel more calm. I got on the treadmill and went on a walk. That made me feel so much better. That's what I chose to do today. You can also watch some TV to take your mind off of things. There's nothing wrong with a little healthy dose of escapism to pull yourself out of these little moments. I'm not recommending that as like a self-soothing thing all the time. However, in like an anxiety attack moment, I absolutely recommend using these little escapist things that you have. Going outside and getting some sun, going for a walk outside and outdoors, touching grass, as they say. That's something that calms a lot of people down. Meditating, doing a visualization, watching your comfort YouTuber. That's something that might calm you down. I want to address something though that I learned about myself on the airplane. I owe like everything I know about my anxiety to the airplane, by the way. So when I was on the airplane and I realized, like, why aren't you just watching something to take your mind off of the turbulence? Why aren't you having a conversation with someone that you know? Like, I literally had a friend that I hadn't seen in forever on the airplane with me once. And when turbulence hit, I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to stop talking to you. I can't talk right now. And I like had to do this freeze response where I like constricted. I took my music out. I started getting hot. I literally had to turn the fans on. Like all I could do was control my body. I couldn't even catch up with my friend because I felt like I needed to control my body. Now, one thing I've reflected on when it comes to that, and I know that this is a very specific scenario on the airplane, but we can extrapolate that into real life. One thing I've reflected on is that subconsciously, you want to stay in the anxiety. I know that that comes across very insensitive, but please understand, I'm talking about myself, and I know that it might apply to you, okay? You want to be anxious. You believe that there is utility to your anxiety. You believe that by being anxious and by staying in this state and controlling your body and freezing or doing whatever it is that you do in this anxious spell that you're having, you believe that that is what helps to solve the problem because it makes you feel in control of something. So you're controlling your body, if you're me, trying to like take the music off. Like you don't want to be distracted by things because you believe that you need to stay in this feeling to make sure that everything works out. You believe that you focusing on these thoughts, if you just keep your eye on these thoughts, then nothing will blindside you. I'm saying this because if you're somebody who, when you're starting to feel the panic coming on, when you think about getting on the treadmill, taking a walk outside, meditating, and those feel inaccessible to you, you suddenly don't want to do the thing that you know will actually help you. That is why. I'm just trying to help you understand your own behaviors. If you know that walking your dog is going to make you feel better, and for whatever reason you don't do that when you're in the middle of an anxiety attack, it is because somewhere subconsciously you believe that the feelings of anxiety are needed in order to help you with the thing you're anxious about. I just want you to think about that for a little bit. Because again, if you're a magnet, what are you attracting by staying in this, by choosing to stay in this? I'm not saying you chose to be in it. I'm not saying that the circumstance that led to the feeling is your fault. But if you know you had a life raft in walking outside, meditating, showering, working out, watching something on TV, and you're not taking that life raft, at this point you're choosing to be in that feeling. And it really just begs the question, why? What do I believe this feeling is doing for me? These are the types of questions I asked myself today because I wasn't going to go downstairs and work out because I'm like, I'm so stressed about all these things. I need to just think about them because if I keep thinking about them, none of them will creep up on me and bite me. But if I like leave them alone at all, any of these thoughts, if I just let them exist, and if I work out, they might blindside me. They might attack me when I'm not looking. That was what I realized I was subconsciously thinking, as ridiculous as it sounds. The last one is not for the weak, but if you are into manifestation, then you'll love this because this is my favorite tool to use. Whatever problem you're dealing with, whatever the source of your anxiety is, I want you to embody the version of you that doesn't have that problem. If you are anxious about relationship issues, embody the version of yourself that is either happily single or happily booed up, whatever makes you feel better about that. Embody that version of yourself and ask yourself, how does the version of myself who has this thing that I want, how do they deal in this moment? If I embody the version of myself that has a healthy, happy relationship, how do I feel about this little single period of my life? If I embody the version of me that has my dream job, how does that version of me feel about this version of me who's applying to jobs and not hearing back? If I embody the version of me who's healthy and excited and young and youthful. How does that version of me feel about this version of me who's currently having mental health and physical health issues? The tool that I use to do this the best is I literally write in this journal, it's somewhere around here, from my future self who has everything I want to my current self. And that girl, she always makes me feel so much better, because really, who else can? Who else can make you feel better and give you reassurance other than the version of you who has everything that you want and knows that you are going to get everything that you want? If you want to know how to make this huge anxiety feeling that you're having today feel like a little blip on someone's radar, if that, talk to the version of yourself who doesn't have any of these issues that you have right now. She's gonna know exactly what to say to comfort you and help you understand that this feels huge today. You're barely gonna remember it tomorrow. You might be wondering, well, what if that's not true? Like, what if I'm just setting myself up for failure or disappointment? What if I never find a job and I'm over here being delusional that I'm gonna have one? Baby, if you know anything about manifestation and the law of attraction, once again, if you are a magnet, what are you attracting with this energy? If you embody the version of yourself who has everything that you want, do you understand with that energy how much faster you're going to magnetize the things that you actually want? If you embody the version of yourself who has thriving, healthy relationships, do you know how much faster you will magnetize those relationships into your life? If you embody the version of yourself who has a successful content creator career with an audience who loves them, do you know how much faster, and I know this firsthand, you will start to magnetize the right people into your audience and start growing your platform? You'll attract your external life based on the energy that you are feeling and keeping internally. It is so, so, so important, especially in these moments of anxiety that we all have, all of us, to understand that these are just thoughts. They're just thoughts. And if they are just thoughts, and if nothing is burning down around you right now, then you can take that thought and replace it with another thought. You have that power. It might not always feel like it. The thoughts, they might feel really, really, really like overpowering. The only reason that they're overpowering is because you've had those thoughts before. So they're used to hanging out there. They've been over your house before. You can kick them out and tell them not to come back and start inviting a new guest into your house and make that guest start to feel more comfortable at your house. That way, the thoughts that you really want will start making themselves at home, and the thoughts that you don't want will understand that they're not welcome back anymore. I love you so much. This is one of the first times I've created a video this close to the thing that I was going through, so I hope it was really helpful, because I literally got myself out of it today. As you can see, I got my makeup on. I feel cute. I feel happy. I wasn't happy immediately. I felt neutral. Like I said, I just got myself to a place of calmness. And honestly, even the version of me now, 2 hours later, looks back at the version of me 2 hours ago like, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then guess what happened? When I assumed calmness, everything worked itself out. Everything within 2 hours worked itself out. So if this is not a testament to the fact that everything will be okay, I don't know what is. I love you so much. And as always, stay powerful, my loves.